Yo, where do we even start with this episode of Smackdown? So, real quick, before we start off with this episode of Smackdown, recently it was kind of noted that Smackdown, beginning I think July 4th, is going to return back to the 2 hour format instead of the 3 hour format that we currently have. And I think overall this is a positive move because 2 hours is a lot more digestible rather than 3 hours. But that's not to say that, recently, these last 2 or 3 weeks with the 3 hour Smackdowns, they've been really good as far as being consistent, as far as like the King of the Ring, and as far as, different things here and there. Especially tonight, it felt like the structure was really hitting on point. And, what I want to talk about is this John Cena CM Punk Pipebomb reenactment promo that we got here at the end of the show. So before everything was said and done, we had the match that was advertised last week, that being R-Truth against John Cena. This was going to be a non-title match. Now, going into this match, I kind of figured maybe R-Truth would get his win back because, this is a different R-Truth. This is not the R-Truth we saw at Saturday night's main event. And I kind of figured they would give him the win and, really prove him now that he is going by Ron Killings and not, so much as R-Truth. But really, this match went about 5 or 10 minutes at the most until John Cena hit R-Truth with the championship title belt, and this caused a disqualification. Out came CM Punk to make the save. John Cena took care of him, though. He low blowed him. He hit him with the championship, I think 3 times or so. He got the table from underneath the ring. Now, this was really interesting because, if you go back 14 years ago, this was the same sort of exact situation that they were placed in, right? It was R-Truth against John Cena on an episode of Raw, and John Cena was put to the table by CM Punk. Now, the roles are reversed this time around. John Cena gives CM Punk the AA onto the table. He grabs the microphone. He goes over to the ringside area, grabs the microphone, and sits on top of the turnbuckle and starts to lay into CM Punk his own version of the pipe bomb. He calls CM Punk the biggest bullshitter of all time. He recites the lines almost word for word. How he likes him. He likes him more than most of the people that Punk's ever shared a locker room with. Obviously, a hint to Punk's prior past altercations. Cena says that he's breaking the fourth wall. He says that Punk changes his values as often as Cena changes his shirt. He mentions Matt Cardona, Nick Nemeth, Claudio Castagnoli. He calls CM Punk Mr. TKO. And like I said, essentially just lays into CM Punk for the better part of, I think, 5 or 6 minutes or so at the end of the show. And CM Punk, you have to know that CM Punk, deep down inside, because he was laying there motionless for about 5 or 6 minutes as long as this, entire promo, you had to have known that this motherfucker was laughing his ass off inside. You know what I mean? Cena says that, Punk was the best in the world for 7 minutes 14 years ago, and ends off the promo with him standing tall with the WWE Championship over his shoulders, and that's how SmackDown goes off the air. Now listen, I think John Cena recently, as of late, and I think this has to do a lot with CM Punk, John Cena has really started to, find his groove as far as his heel turn goes. I think CM Punk is definitely helping out with that because these two guys, they just bring out the best in each other. And John Cena, for the last, 3 or so weeks, I've really enjoyed John Cena's work. And a lot of that could be attributed to CM Punk. And it kind of sucks for me because I know Cena isn't going to be heel for much longer because, tonight we got the qualifying match or the semifinal match between Sami Zayn and Randy Orton. Before the match, they all had a segment in the ring together between Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes had nothing to say. Everybody was out there kind of pleading their case as far as why they're going to be the King of the Ring winner in this tournament. And we had the match afterwards with Randy Orton and Sami Zayn. Randy Orton got the win, so now it's officially confirmed for us. Like, we still have the match between Jey Uso and Cody next week, but it's officially all but confirmed that the actual finals of the tournament is going to consist of Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. And again, that's going to be at SummerSlam. Whoever wins that is going to SummerSlam to face John Cena. So obviously it's going to be Cody. I foresee Cody is going to go in there and beat John Cena, which is why I'm saying I don't think this heel Cena thing is going to last really past SummerSlam. I'd be surprised if it goes all the way to December. But, you know, if we get more promos like this with Punk, I wouldn't really mind, honestly, extension of a heel Cena. The women's side, we got Asuka against Alexa Bliss, with Asuka going to the finals. We also got LA Knight and Bronson Reed. They were in a match here as well. One thing I will say about, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker was the fact that, they had sort of a prior segment here at the beginning of the show to kind of kick off the show with him and Heyman and Bronson Reed and whatnot. One thing I will say about Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker is the fact that these two guys, they're great, and everybody knows they're great. I know they're great, they're great. But one thing that's lacking from this Seth Rollins faction is the fact that these two guys here, they're killers and they're absolute beasts, but they don't really show much of a personality. They just come out there and are essentially Seth Rollins' bodyguards. And that's one area where I think they can actually improve on, because we know Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker can cut a hell of a promo by themselves. So it's kind of asinine for me as far as like why these guys aren't given, proper mic time, rather than, just being looked at as Seth Rollins' bodyguards. And also, one thing, we need LA Knight to move over to Raw immediately. There is no future for him whatsoever on SmackDown. And lastly, I'll end off with this. We had Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. They had a, in-ring segment here where Solo Sikoa essentially wanted to bring back Jacob Fatu into, what remains of the bloodline. Obviously, Jacob Fatu was always going to say no. He was never going to rejoin back up with Solo. This causes JC Mateo to come in to make the, save for Solo. They put a beat down on Fatu. Out comes Jimmy Uso, and Jimmy Uso and Fatu stand tall. And then later on, it's revealed that we get this match between Fatu and Solo at Night of Champions. And as I was watching this entire segment, I thought to myself, I said, yo, I think Fatu is obviously going to be the breakout star out of all these guys, because Fatu is going places. I almost feel like this story in some way is kind of, holding down Fatu, because I know Fatu is capable of, tearing the house down in there with all different type of guys in that ring. But let me know what you guys thought down below. Let me know what you guys thought of SmackDown. Let me know what you guys thought of the Cena promo. Like I said, I feel like Cena and Punk, they have their best work when they get in the ring together, when they get, when we get segments like this as well. Definitely, I think the highlight of the night was that, John Cena Pipebomb 2025. So if you go back and you watch anything from this show, I suggest you watch that back in full. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.